If you lost a family member to COVID-19, you may be eligible for homeowner assistance funds from the government. Call 1-877-894-4663 now or visit washingtonhaf.org. That's washingtonhaf.org. Because losing a loved one does not have to mean losing your home.
What's up, everyone? It's your girl, Queen Bree, inviting you to come join me on Clean Greens Living. Broadcasted Tuesdays, 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, live right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. On Clean Greens Living, we talk farming, community, and ways to being healthy. So come join me and let's discuss ways to create a healthier you and a healthier community.
Wash your hands, don't touch your face, wipe things down, clean up your space. When you cough and sneeze, do responsibly. If you feel you're getting ill, isolate at home and chill. No, you're not alone. Please pick up your phone and call 206-477-3977. King County 206-477-3977. Public Health 206-477-3977. King County 206-477-3977. Public Health Community Radio Station will provide you with more information. Say Rainier Avenue Radio. Your community radio station will provide you with more information. Rainier Avenue Radio.
I'm Paul Pearson, host of Star Time, and when I'm not deep frying a turducken in a closed garage, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Good afternoon. Welcome to this week's edition of the impacts of the coronavirus on South Seattle and surrounding communities. It's me, your host, Tony B. I know that President Biden said that coronavirus was over, but, you know, that's politics. The impacts and the after effects of coronavirus are still lingering, and well, they'll be with us for a while. There's a lot that we're not even gonna understand until a few years from now, when we have the ability to take a look back in hindsight and see how people were affected, how the coronavirus affected and impacted the things people do. We already know that, you know, going back to work now means going back to work from home more than it does actually physically going back. But it depends on where you're at as well. Different states have different rates of people who are working from home and going back to work. Anyway, important information for you that we have here for you. During the pandemic, a lot of things stopped, slowed down. I guess slopped too. But parking tickets was one of those things. And here's the deal. All right. The Seattle Municipal Court will resume late fees for Seattle infraction tickets that are past their due date beginning January 30th, 2023. Now, they're trying to get the word out right now because, you know, this could really impact people. During the pandemic, if you got a ticket, I mean, there was just confusion about what it looked like. Parking was free for a while. And I got some guests here who are going to help me explain all of this confusion to you. At least I'm confused, and maybe they can straighten this out. Magistrate Judge Bob Chung. He's lived in Seattle all his life. He's going to be here. Also went to the University of Washington, University of Oregon Law School. And then Jerry Stein will be here as well. Generally, Jerry is the customer service operations manager and oversees cashiering and payments. So we're going to find out exactly what this is. I'm going to tell you a little more about it, but why don't I bring them on first? Jerry and Judge Bob, welcome to the program.
Great. Welcome.
And Jerry just yeah, I can hear you. You know how this technology thing works. The first thing is to make sure that we're all connected. Cool. Well, glad to have both of you here. I was talking a little bit about the late fees for unpaid pickets, and this was suspended since COVID-19 pandemic began in March of 2020. And my understanding is there are over 295 tickets that will be impacted if the tickets remain unpaid. That's a lot of tickets, and even more than that. That's probably a lot of money. The court suspended the default penalty for past due tickets and stopped referring tickets to collections in March due to the economic hardships caused by the pandemic. The late fees an additional $25 for parking and camera tickets, and an additional $52 for traffic tickets. Now, this isn't very sexy right now, you know, and this isn't going to really come into play until January. But when it hits, this will certainly impact folks. And so if we can give our communities a heads up and find out if there's anything that they can do, that's why we're having this conversation this morning. So I want to find out a little bit about both of you. And since at least on the screen, Magistrate Bob, you're right next to me. Why don't we start with you? Give us a little bit about your background and the role that you play at Seattle Municipal Court, the role that Seattle Municipal Court plays in traffic tickets.
Thank you very much for having us today. This is really, I think, a good topic to be discussing at this time. As far as my background, I'm a resident of City Seattle. I grew up in North Seattle and lived all my life throughout the city for my entire life, other than when I went to law school. So this is my home. I really enjoy living here. I think it's the best place in the world to be. How
about those Huskies, man? 3-0, beat Michigan State. I know you're a Husky, so I had to throw that.
Go Dogs. But anyways, I mean, in terms of my background, I was with the City Attorney's Office Criminal Division for about 20 years as a prosecutor, practicing in the Seattle Municipal Court. And after that, I've joined the Municipal Court. I've been on the bench for about 10 years now as a magistrate judge.
Okay. And the other part of that question is, may seem fundamental to you, but may not for everybody, be widely known information. What does the Seattle Municipal Court do? Seattle Municipal Court, which may be different than other courts, and how does that role work with traffic tickets?
Sure. So our court's a limited jurisdiction, and we are probably the busiest court in the state of Washington, our jurisdiction here. As far as Magistrate's office, we handle all the traffic infractions that come through. So they can include parking violations, certain types of code violations, traffic infractions. We also, as the magistrates, there's 5 of us. We sit also as pro tem judges in the formal court, and we handle misdemeanor offenses that occur in the city of Seattle. So for instance, that could be domestic violence, assault, DUI, those types of crimes. And so we sit on the bench as well when needed and called upon.
All right, thank you. Don't go anywhere. And Jerry, welcome to the program. Good to have you here. Now, I mentioned earlier that you were operations manager at Seattle Municipal Court. In layman's terms, what does that mean?
So I'm one of a couple of managers in the operations division. My title is court payments manager. I oversee the cashiers and people who set up time payment plans and community service plans for people who can't afford to pay in full if they qualify on income. And we do some other monitoring and other kinds of clerical work in the background as well.
Okay, now, can you speak to that position that you're talking about, the cashiers? That's a frontline position. How was that affected by the pandemic? Were those folks, I mean, I don't know if you can work from home and do that. How did that work out for those employees?
Right. So we did maintain a presence after the court reopened in July of 2020. We actually split into 2 teams so that we could rotate back and forth. And if anybody got sick on one team, the other team would not be affected. And so we kind of had about half of each of my team, half of my folks in each week, every other week. So we continued to staff our front counter it's been a lot slower, but we did have some work that we could do at home. But definitely the workload dropped off. We also then were able to loan out some people to other departments in the city to keep them occupied. And but we have maintained, and we always have a cashier available for bailouts at the jail. So that was something that was maintained continuously, even when the court was closed. And we have a quick pay window right inside our entrance that we've prioritized. So.
All right. Again, this is Tony B. You're listening to the impacts of the coronavirus on South Seattle and surrounding communities. Late fees for parking tickets, parking infractions. I think this is the right terminology, coming back. I don't know if they were suspended or exactly what the deal is. But this will start on January 30th of 2023. And so this question is for both of you, or you can both answer it, or one of you can take this question. What are late fees? Let's start with that. What are late fees? The pandemic was March 2020. What are late fees? How do these things accumulate? Can you explain how that works? Jerry, Bob?
Well, sure, I could. So the state law as a requirement of responding to a ticket within 15 days. That's changing for traffic infractions on January 1st to 30 days. But it's been 15, and at that point, the law says that courts shall impose a $25 late fee for any payments after that.
Okay, if you get a ticket, is this a moving violation, a parking ticket, or?
Right. So the state law says that controls the traffic infractions, and so they set that fine at $25, but they also have an additional fee on top of that goes to the state. That's 105% of that, so $27, and that's how that ends up being $52 on an infraction. The state law delegates to the city the authority to set a late fee up to $25, and the city council has done that, and so that's that the city ordinance is the source of the $25 that's applied to parking tickets.
And additional fees. Are there any additional fees that if you haven't paid in 15 days, you don't pay for another 60 days? Does that incur an additional fee? When do tickets go to collections? Because some folks pile up a pretty big number on what I guess what I'm calling late fees, and I'm just trying to get clarification from one of you, on where those fees come from.
So there's no additional fee that's imposed by the court. When a ticket is sent to collections, which typically might be about 60 days past the default date, then the collection agency imposes their fee, which is a percentage of the amount that's referred. Yeah.
And so as of March 2020, were these fees waived, or did they continue to accrue and nobody just contacted people about it? What was the deal? If you can clarify, again, either one of you, what happened March 2020? Folks got tickets, late fees accrued, they didn't accrue, collection agencies were contacted, they weren't contacted. What kind of happened during the pandemic?
Well, so basically the court acknowledging the fact of Corona and the 19 and the pandemic and the effects one of the aspects was the financial aspect and hardship that it did create. The court decided at that time to suspend the late fees and collection referrals beginning in March of 2020. And so that was something the court decided in light of the circumstances, the health circumstances that people were encountering. So that's something that the court did on its own. So nothing was really
Can
happening.
you define for me what suspend means? Does suspend mean waive, like no fees, or suspend means we're just going to hold back and wait until this passes?
It was not a situation where they were eliminated. They were a situation where they were just held, basically stayed at that point until, once again, the pandemic and things start happening in terms of hopefully people getting back on their feet and be able to take care of these types of financial obligations. So it never was something that was eliminated. It was just something that was still there, but nothing further from that happened really.
Okay, and I interrupted you. Did you want to finish saying what you were talking? And I do that a lot too.
No,
so.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. And during this period, have any tickets been sent to collections and collection? Do people, should they be, whoa, I might be getting something from collections in addition to the fees resuming again in January? Either of you.
So no infractions or parking tickets have been referred to collections.
Okay.
There have been criminal proceedings, which a judge always has the decision whether to order something to collections in criminal cases, and there have been some that they have directed us to send, but that's the only situation.
Okay. Again, a question for both of you. What are the different options that are available to folks to respond to a ticket? Because oftentimes people do say, hey, I want to challenge this or whatever. The pandemic may have affected that. And there may be some time limitations on their ability to do that. So what are the different options that folks have to respond to a ticket now that they got over the course of this last couple of years?
But I think that the one thing that I think is really important is the fact that, two things really, that this in January 30th of 2023, the court is going to resume the late fees. And so people have from now until then to really take some action. And one of the things I also want to mention in conjunction with that is that the court is conducting an outreach event in September 19th at Rainier Beach Community Center. And that's going to give an opportunity for folks to come to.
Wait, did you say September 19th?
Yes.
Today is the 23rd.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize. But we did hold that event. I'm sorry. I apologize. We did hold that event as far as an opportunity for people to connect with the court. But in addition, to answer your question more directly, is that there's a number of different ways that folks can contact the court with regards to the matters. They can, if they decide to want to mitigate the matter, that's basically a situation where they just want the court to understand the circumstances. They can always mitigate, and they can do that in person. They can do it on writing. We also are accommodating remote appearances, either by telephone or by a platform called WebEx. So those are all options that we're giving folks an opportunity to take advantage if they wish to do so. If they don't think they committed the violation, they want to address the matter, then by all means they can contest the matter. And once again, the same procedures are all available to them as far as if they wish to write in, they can ask for a hearing in person, they can appear at that hearing remotely or by telephone or by WebEx once again. So we're trying to offer some different options in terms of folks being able to be heard with regards to their matter.
Okay. And so if you want to dispute a ticket, you still can do that.
That's correct.
And is there a time limit based on when you got the ticket, or what are the rules regarding, when up until this time you can dispute a ticket and what that looks like?
Shall I?
Go ahead.
So as I said earlier, right now the rule is 15 days, but that's what we suspended. So you have until January 30th at this point. And okay. So up till then, a ticket going back to about March 1st of 2020, You have all the options available to respond that are there on the back of the ticket. You could request a hearing, you could pay in full, you could request a payment plan, you could request community service in lieu of payment. So all of those options are available.
And this is just within the limits of the city of Seattle, correct?
That's correct.
Right.
Okay. And you may not even have this information, but if it's unincorporated King County, even if it's Skyway, just Seattle. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. Awesome. Again, this is Tony B. Thank you for this information. This is your impacts of the coronavirus on South Seattle and surrounding communities broadcast. Here's the deal. The Seattle Municipal Court will resume late fees for unpaid parking camera traffic tickets on January 30th of 2023. Again, this may not be the sexiest thing right now, but if this hits you later, you will have probably wished you had paid a little bit more attention to this. So we're trying to do our part to create awareness to this issue and give you information that may help you. So here's some confusion here, because I don't know the answer to this. I heard something about parking tickets that were given away at a certain period of time by the city of Seattle were no longer in effect because of some legal issue or who gave the tickets and what department the tickets were coming from. Do you know the issue that I'm talking about here? I mean, I know you got to know. I may not be putting in legal terms, but you know what I'm talking about here, right?
Yep.
So how does that impact what's going on here?
The perspective with regards to those matters, there was a legal issue that with regards to those matters, and the court, what they did in this situation is find those tickets between the dates that were the issue occurred at, and all those tickets have been basically canceled at this point. So those individuals no longer are responsible for those matters. Those have been basically erased.
Okay. So here comes probably one of the biggest questions that folks have out there. What if they don't know if they have a ticket? What if they've lost their ticket? What if they can't even remember at this point having gotten a ticket? What can folks do to remedy that situation or resolve those issues?
Magistrate, do you want to take this or me?
I'll go and defer to you.
All right. So the court's website is a great place to, we have some resources there. You can put in your license plate and look for any parking tickets. You can do a name search to see if there are any infraction tickets. I think a plate search might bring up infractions as well, since of course the officers record a plate for infractions as well. So that's, seattle.gov/courts is our main page. And from there, you can go down the menus to find the places to look for any tickets you might have. If you don't have that access, or if you'd rather, we have a customer service line. They can check for you. 206-684-5600.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have you give that information one more again, just for folks who are listening, going, okay, that went kind of quickly. How if I've lost my ticket, if I can't remember if I have a ticket, if I'm not sure and I want to check this out, what can I do?
So the best thing to do is go to our website, www.seattle.gov/courts, and there's a page in there where you can look, do I have a ticket? Look for any cases or anything in your name or for your license plate. Or alternatively, call our phone center, 206-684-5600.
684-5600, 206. This time has flown by so fast. We're almost out of time. So I just got to get to a couple more key questions. And again, it may seem like, well, you should have this figured out. What happens if you don't respond to the ticket that you don't have, or you don't think you have, or you don't remember, or you just let this thing go? What's going to happen?
Well, with regards to failure to respond on a ticket, the court may send your ticket to a collection agency. Also, the court would report that you have failed to take care of the ticket, and Department of Licensing in a fracture matter, or traffic ticket, could possibly suspend your license. And lastly, with regards to a unpaid parking ticket, the Department of Licensing could withhold issuing your tab for your vehicle. So those are all potential consequences that an individual would be looking at if they did not take care of the ticket that was issued to them.
And Jerry, do you want to add anything to that, or?
Just that. So starting January 30th, when we start defaulting the parking tickets, any of those that default, our system will generate a postcard to the registered owner, letting them know, here's your original ticket, here's when it was issued, here's the car it was issued to, and now there's $25 more. And so there's an opportunity then to contact the court before that goes to collections, proceeds any further. And for infractions, you wouldn't get a postcard, but you'll get a letter from the collection agency, but it will not be an active collections yet. It would just be a letter giving you another 30 days to pay before it rolls into collections.
Okay, so when this thing comes through on January 23rd, 2020, or January 30th, 2023, there will be consequences and repercussions for not having paid your tickets, right? The grace period is over on January 30th, 2023. You start getting fines. You could go to collections depending on what the circumstances is. Magistrate Chung, let me know. You could lose your license. You may not be able to get your tabs. Things start happening, and is that right?
Those are all potential consequences as a result of not taking care of the matter. That's correct.
Okay. I want to give both of you an opportunity here for final words, and I really appreciate you taking my questions. If you don't know how we get down on this show, we just have open, honest, frank conversation and try to bring the conversation from the 30,000 foot level to the rubber hitting the road. And so I want to give each of you an opportunity here for final words. If there's anything that you would like to say to our audience right now that's watching and listening, and or both, from, of course, our South Seattle area, which is where we proudly and unashamedly represent. But then again, we got folks listening from all over the place in all of our communities. And if you got a ticket in Seattle, even if you live in Linwood, you're under the same fire that anybody would be, right? So final words from the both of you. Jerry, do you want to go first? Anything you want to say?
Just want to encourage people to take a look, see if you think you might have a ticket. Please visit our website or give us a call. If you know you have one and you still have it around, fill out the back or give us a call, respond to that ticket. Don't wait till January 29th. We have a lot of payment options that we can talk about, and to set up a time payment plan, it's only a $4 fee. After that, we don't charge. There's no transaction fees on those monthly payments. You can set up an auto pay plan through our credit card processor and automatically hit your bank account or credit card to break that up over time. You need to set that up with us first, but we offer those things. So please, we really don't want to collect late fee money. We'd love to have people talk to us soon. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Jerry. And Judge Chung, same opportunity for you for final words. Anything that you'd like to say?
Just thank you very much for having us today. We're just trying to get the word out, and as many different type of sources that we get the information out to everyone. I think that's really for everyone's best interest. So we really appreciate once again being here today. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you both for joining us. A little later on, and you guys can hang around for this too. A little later on tonight, we will be broadcasting live from Memorial Stadium High School football. Franklin is taking on Lincoln. That game at 5 o'clock. Our very own Juan Cotto will be doing the play-by-play along with the coach, Jay Yeezy, John Yasutaki doing commentary. It's 5 o'clock, broadcasting live right here on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Franklin and Lincoln. And then a little later on, again tonight, 7:45, the Ballard Beavers will be taking on the Rainier Beach Vikings. We will, of course, be broadcasting that game live as well. So some exciting sports action from our high school is taking place later on this evening. I also want to say thanks to the Black Coalition of Trade Unionists and the NAACP, where we broadcast from National Voter Registration Day on Tuesday. Make sure you do that. Get registered to vote if you're not, so that you can vote. 1 in 4 people of color are actually okay to vote, but haven't. That's 25% of the population that can vote, but just hasn't registered to vote. All right, that's it. That's all the time I have. That's going to do it for the kid. It's me, Tony B., your host of the impacts of the coronavirus on South Seattle and surrounding communities, saying, remember, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you are probably right. I'm out. Peace.